Who's starting? Oh no.
Who's on first?
Okay, now we know.
It's
There we go.
Wednesday and it's 6:00, and you know what that means.
What does that mean?
Breakdown. Boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop,
What's up? Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year too.
Yeah. Happy New Year and stuff.
And stuff. The New Year and stuff. Yes, yeah. So, all right. What's up? What's up, Kat?
So I'm Catherine, aka the High Heel Gamer, and today we're going to talk about some things. And
That narrows it down.
Right, never doubt. And I have been fortunate enough to have Jeff on the show today.
Ooh, jumping in, joining in,
yeah.
Not having a breakdown. And Jack is coming out from under his hoodie, so that means 6 more weeks of winter. Only if you're living in like a warm climate.
Yes.
So where are you, Kat? We don't see the normal green screen behind you.
No, I'm on location. I'm in Florida. I'm somewhere in Florida. Like I just typed Florida in my GPS and then drove and then stopped at some random town in Florida. Like I don't even know. And then I knocked on a door and I was like, hey, I need a place to stay. And they were like, cool.
I don't know. It's starting to sound to me like you might be an Iranian assassin that's on their way to Florida for other nefarious purposes. Oh wait, I don't mean to get too political in the new year, but there we go. It's what can we say?
It wouldn't be you if you didn't do that.
That's a comic book plot waiting to happen, right?
It is.
A video game blogger or vlogger is actually a hired assassin. Let's get HBO Plus or let's get Disney Plus or whatever all the pluses. Let's get them on board.
All the pluses.
All the pluses. We got a pilot for them right there.
Yeah. How you been, Jeff? I've missed you.
Good, yeah.
I'm here with Jack and like.
I know it's miserable. I know. Yeah, no. It's been good. Christmas was good and nice and busy, and lots of other little projects going on. And Jack and I. It's like, you can't say, Jack, I missed you. I talked to him like last night. So.
Yeah. You guys have like conversations. I never talk to Jack except on Wednesdays.
On Wednesday. That's all right. It's so much wild and crazy stuff. Hopefully, we'll share with you one day what
one day. One day I'll be allowed in the club.
All right. So big Christmas time stuff. Star Wars, right? Star Wars. Yeah, have you seen Star Wars?
I have seen Star Wars.
Yeah. How many times?
One so far.
All right, 3.
Lucky.
Yeah. Opening night, and then opening night, and then 2 days later, and then over Christmas. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know. Opening weekend. Yeah.
It's it's really good. I enjoyed it, despite what fanboys that like to complain about things say. Although it seems like the fans like this and the critics don't. But since when should you trust critics who
never
think that the word critic is derived from criticize and not critique? They don't know what the hell they're doing. Yeah. So.
No, exactly. And like I've only had like a couple of friends that are like, I hated it, and then when you ask them, well, what did you hate about it, they don't have like a real answer. And I'm like, you just want to hate just to hate. So
yeah,
but everybody else
and here's what they really hate about it is they hate that they're not 10 years old.
Yeah,
and it's like if you have a problem with this movie in particular, I had issues with the last Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But my issues were kind of on par with what a lot of fans were saying. It's like, it seems like the guy who wrote and directed it, Rian Johnson, who's really competent, really good writer, really good director, that he was deliberately doing, and he's even admitted that he was subverting expectations. And I'm like, you're in the wrong business. If you're working in a fan-based franchise and they give you a shot at something and your goal is to subvert. And I think this movie course corrected a lot of that. And to me, I was very pleased at how much it pulled everything together. And it really, you've got to suspend your adult mind a little bit. And I'm still seeing it with teenagers and stuff as a kid. And
Yeah,
so you've got to put yourself into that perspective. And it's like, dude, this is not for 50-year-old guys who are acting like 50-year-old guys. This
exactly.
is for the kid in you. And if you can't attach yourself to that kid, part of you, for 2.5 hours to go watch one of these movies, then you're the problem, not the movie.
Exactly. Oh no, 100%. Because I'm the same way too. Like I go in and I'm like, as soon as you hear the opening sound and the credits or the ticker going, like I start getting all giddy, my legs start kicking, and I'm literally 10 years old as well. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
amazing. And then of course, it's something so different every time. And people are just like, it's the same thing over and over. And I'm like, no, it's really not. You have to go in it with eyes wide open and excited and fun for it.
Right, right. And a part of the fun of it too is that it does have the repeating themes of the hero's journey and all of the elements of it. And so, after you see it, if you go back and really think about it, you're like, and you deconstruct it, you go, oh my God, this so totally made sense.
Yeah.
It's a rhythmic storytelling type. If you look at all three trilogies and each of the movies in the three trilogies, the ones that work the best have this rhythm to them where there are echoes of other movies that you see in each of them. Each of the, it's like the episode 1 and episode 4 and episode 7, the first of each of the three trilogies. The young hero loses their mentor,
Yep.
right? So when episode 7 came out, and I was like, oh, Han Solo is going to die, and people were like, how do you know? How do you know? And I'm like, because I understand what the storytelling
Oh, yeah.
technique is. This has to happen to propel this character on their journey. It was Obi-Wan Kenobi, it was Qui-Gon Jinn, and now it's Han Solo. And that's just kind of a part of the structure. And the middle part of the three movies has to leave you on a downbeat so that there's something to come back up and kind of overcome with the last of the three movies. If you really dissect it, it makes total sense. And fans just want to bitch. So, and I have no patience. I have no patience for people like that. And they're not truly fans if they can't.
They're complaining. Correct.
Yeah.
And it's like, and for me, it's if you're complaining and you don't have like a legit thing to complain about, I don't want to hear it. Like, don't like, oh, I'm so mad that well, spoilers at this point, because if you haven't seen Star Wars, shame on you.
Right.
Like, I had one person, they're like, I totally hated the whole movie. And I'm like, well, why? And they're like, because Kylo Ren and Rey kissed. And I'm like, dude, do you even understand like what adrenaline does? Like adrenaline is like, oh my God, you're alive. Like, mwah, just a plant. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have the whole movie. That's not a legit argument for me.
Well, it's one of those things too where there are people complaining. It's like, oh, he was such a bad guy. How can you redeem him at the end? Well, the original movies that everyone loves so much, the worst dude ever, Darth Vader, gets redeemed at the end.
Exactly.
And he dies in that. But here's something interesting that I don't think people consider with this. It's like, Kylo Ren is evil. I mean, he's evil, but he's like, he wants to kill the bad guy too. He just wants power. He's just like is obsessed with this stuff.
Yeah.
And the point in the movie when he turns is the point where his mother dies.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't disappear until the end of the movie when he dies and he disappears, which to me, I think means she sacrificed herself to project her goodness into him long enough for him to be redeemed. And so that when he dies, she fades away too, because it was her. She's the one that saved the day. She's the one that made the ultimate sacrifice. And people are just like, oh, yeah. But no, that to me, that is exactly what it is.
I've been telling people that too. I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly what I've been saying too. Because a lot of people were like, oh, it didn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, this is what I think. And what you said is exactly everything I said. She's the one that brought him back to being Ben.
Yeah. And it's the Rey is a Palpatine, and all of that stuff. It's like, oh, how can that be? But then you think about it and you go, okay, so the first the Skywalkers, Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, he has his story, and he finds redemption as the ultimate sort of good. He brings balance back to the Force, and the one person that tries to create the chaos to throw the balance off is the Emperor. And this story is about his offspring refusing to do it. going against her nature. She's stronger than everybody.
Yeah.
She is stronger. She overcomes everything. She doesn't fall into the Darth Vader trap or the Emperor trap. She is willing to overcome this and let the ultimate good sort of prevail in the end. And so it's like, and it makes perfect sense.
It does.
The whole thing is about two families, the Skywalkers, who were manipulated through 9 movies by Palpatine. And at the end, he gets his butt handed to him by his own offspring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I love it. I think there's a lot more depth there than people are willing to admit.
Yes.
So, but conversely, everybody has, and I'm shocked at this. Everybody's fallen in love with Baby Yoda, which
I want one so bad.
That shouldn't work, right? Like all these fans were like, "Oh, the Ewoks suck," or "Oh, Jar Jar sucks," but they're all in love with Baby Yoda. I mean, it's like
Baby Yoda's so cute, and like original Yoda isn't terrible. Like people like original Yoda.
Yeah, but he was never cute, right?
No, well, no. But look at Baby Yoda. Like, how do you not want one?
Oh no, I know, and practical effects too, not CGI. This is all puppet work.
No, and that's the one that got me. Like, it wasn't until I think after the second episode that I found out that it was like a puppet, and I was like, oh, that's really cool that they brought that back kind of full circle, Like,
yeah. Well, it's more effective, I think, as a puppet than a special effect because the actors are actually interacting with it. I mean, you look at this little kind of image that Jack has pulled up for us here that's on repeat. I mean, you have to understand that Pedro Pascal, the actors who are handling the puppet, are having to operate the puppet to some degree. So these actors are having to react and act with the puppet.
Yeah. So this is a good transition to The Mandalorian. Have you seen the whole season?
Oh yeah. Finished the whole thing.
Yeah, me too. And what did you think?
It's pretty brilliant. There are a lot of people who started complaining part of the way through. So, they're too short episodes, and I was like, no, man, the episodes are plenty long enough to, they're telling the story. They're being very, very economical with the way they do it. And then by the end, people were complaining. It's like, oh, nothing is happening. And I'm like, well, no, it's episodic and it's serial. It's leading to a conclusion. Like, it's styled, and people say some people say, it's the most close to the original Star Wars movie. And I think it is because, and they don't understand how to quantify it, but that one was based, much like Raiders of the Lost Ark, on serial movies, that you would watch 10, 15-minute episodes for 6 months to get a complete story of Flash Gordon or the Lost City of whatever and all of that stuff. And so it's meant to be watched in tiny chunks, then it adds up to one kind of full story.
Exactly.
Don't seem to have the patience
of like TV shows back in the late 70s, 80s, where it was only 30 minutes or a little less of an episode that led up to something kind of big. And granted, yes, There weren't 8 episodes, but that's the way it was back in the day in TV shows, and you had to wait a week, and that excitement had to build up and stuff. So
yeah, it's like what kills me too is like the cliffhangers and whatnot. This one, it tied everything up, but it also left us with a cliffhanger for season 2. But fans, again, I'm going to complain about fans. Fans have a way of going completely nuts. Like rational people who like watch The Walking Dead for years. After Negan shows up and he we're waiting on Negan, and then he kills somebody, but you don't see who it is, and you have to wait 3 months for the next season to start. And have people who are just like, how dare they? What a ripoff! This is I'm so done with the show. And you know what I point out to them? I'm going, yeah, because TV's never done that before. Like, I don't know, Jean-Luc Picard turning into a Borg and Riker going, Mr. Worf, fire, to be continued, and you don't see what happened. I'm like, come on, and geeks need to get out of their own way.
Dallas, who shot JR? Like it was
right. You make them wait
exactly
4 months, and you speculate, and it's like, man, Star Trek: The Next Generation, every season was a cliffhanger, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, we got to see how they get out of this and all that's So I have no patience with whiny fanboys and whatnot. But I loved it. I loved The Mandalorian. I thought it was great. I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do.
I liked it too. I liked the way it ended. I liked the fact that it gave the option of season 2, which we are getting, and I'm excited
Right.
about that. I didn't have any real complaints about the Mandalorian, except that I didn't want to see his face. I wish they would have kind of did like just the back of his head.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. We're not going to show his face, are we? No. Yeah.
And I kind of wish they would have held off on that just a little bit longer, but I get why they did it because they didn't know how this was going to be fully received. So they
Right.
might not have, season 2 to fall back on, you know what I mean? So I kind of get why they did it. I wish they didn't, but that's just my little.
Right. Well, it's interesting because, of course, anybody can Google Pedro Pascal and see what he looks like.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know who the actor was because I didn't want to know what he looked like.
Right.
So I didn't look at that or anything like that. So
Yeah, and it was part of the mystery as well. But I give them props for when they took the helmet off. He looked all sweaty and rough and stuff. I was like, oh, dude, he doesn't look attractive at all. Of course, he wouldn't, right? He's got talk about hat hair. He's got helmet hair, and he's got flop sweat.
With his hair all.
Yeah, it's like he looked like he was having a bad day. He wasn't like, flip the hair back and like supermodel or anything. Yeah. So kudos to them and tying it into the Star Wars animated universe.
Yes, the Clone Wars. Yes.
With the Clone Wars, lots of references. I thought for a second, I was like, oh, I bet Ahsoka Tano is going to show up near the end of this series.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, and she may still in season 2. Of course, they're going to do the Obi-Wan Kenobi show with Ewan McGregor, so lots of things are possible there. And I did hear some rumors that season 2 of The Mandalorian may pick up some of the threads that were put in there by the Solo movie with Darth Maul and some of the Crimson Dawn mobsters and all of that stuff. So some of these TV shows may pick up things that movies have alluded to, or some things the animated series have alluded to. So it's all one big universe.
So what did you think about the guest stormtroopers, Andy Sudeikis and the other guy, punching Baby Yoda?
It was pretty funny. I get it. It's like that's one way to make people be okay with those guys getting killed, is to do that, like to turn the audience. It's funny how, like this sort of Walking Dead does it with, if Daryl dies, we're all going to, have a revolution or whatever. It's like you sort of play into that fan base, their expectations, and you subvert that a little bit. And of course, Jason Sudeikis, a lot of comedians, by the way, showing up as guest stars in season 1 of The Mandalorian.
So they're getting a lot of flack over this, and I'm just like, they didn't know what was in the bag. They didn't know what they were hitting. They didn't know it was a baby.
Beating on a puppet. And here's a call, and this, I hate to say this is what it reminded me of. And I know Jack's not going to have this at the ready to show a clip or pull anything up because I'm totally left fielding it. The movie Waterworld. Remember Waterworld?
Yes.
Yeah. What kind of a big douchebag the Mariner character was, the lead character Kevin Costner played, and there was the little girl that was on the boat with him. And there's this one point in the movie, and this was the funniest thing in the movie. Like, it kills me every time. There's a plane flying, and they're looking up to see who it is, if it's the bad guys and all that stuff. And the little girl waves, and he's standing behind her, and he goes, pop, in the back of the head, and he goes, what are you doing? And I was just like, very cool. I thought that was pretty funny because nobody expects them to hit a kid.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, they didn't know what was in the bag. They just knew they had transfers.
They're bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
I would expect that.
So, but hey, speaking of fans, though, a lot of the stormtroopers that were in the final 2 episodes were actual fans. The 501st Legion. The TV or the people at Disney did not have enough costumes on hand, so they called in some of the cosplayers to fill out the whole legion of troops that show up there in those final 2 episodes.
That's exciting. I
Yeah, a
didn't know
lot of legit fans.
people in the 501st. So
Yep. Yeah, so legit fans are now getting to be in there, and the joke was, it's like, some of these fans, the costumes they make are actually better than the ones that were used in the original movie.
yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, because their attention to detail is so much greater. But yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes next, and of course the Clone Wars cartoon coming back on a couple weeks, right?
Yes, it has. I haven't caught up on this latest season of. There's the 501st. There we are. Super cool. I haven't caught up on the new season of Clone Wars. I know it's only been like a couple of episodes that have been out, so I haven't watched any of the new ones yet. So
yeah, well, there was like the 13 episodes that Netflix did a few years ago, season 6. So I guess this is season 7 that's about to happen. So, but it hasn't happened yet. And I don't know how much, it's been years since I've seen those episodes. My son has been doing like a rewatch of selective episodes throughout to kind of get himself caught back up. But it's interesting because my kid, who's he'll be 17 in March. He was 5 when the Clone Wars cartoon started, so that's his Star Wars.
yeah,
He's totally dialed into that part of the universe. His favorite movie is Revenge of the Sith.
wow,
Episode 3, because it fits into the universe that he grew up on, and I think people attach to whatever their first love is.
That's one of the worst things I've ever heard.
Yeah, but you got to be that right age when you see it to get it, I think. Yeah. Jack's never been that right age for anything, though. He's just a bitter bastard.
That's part of the problem. Jack is not.
All right, what problem?
I will say that I will say that episode 3 makes a lot more sense and is a better movie if you've seen the Clone Wars. If you've seen the cartoon.
A lot of people have said that for sure.
So it does make it better, but a lot of people didn't do it because it was a cartoon. They were just like, I'm not going to do it. So.
They thought it was going to be campy and cheesy, and they thought it was going to be geared just for little kids and not have any, any Star Wars, kind of thing to it. So
yeah, but it was legit. I mean, there are characters from the Clone Wars cartoon that, because I watched it along with the kids, there are characters that are just in the cartoon that are as real to the Star Wars canon to me as Han Solo or Boba Fett or Obi-Wan Kenobi. When you think of Ahsoka Tano or Asajj Ventress, and so there's all these other characters like, oh my God, that's right, they've never been in a movie. But they're still great characters because the Dave Filoni, the guy who is working with Jon Favreau on The Mandalorian, is the guy who ran the Clone Wars. So as a storyteller, he gets it. He knows how to tell a good story.
Yeah. So other than Star Wars, the big thing is The Witcher.
See, I haven't started it yet, so you're gonna have to explain to me, as a gamer, what's the big deal with The Witcher?
Okay, so
besides Henry Cavill.
Well, no, because here's the problem. I've only gotten to episode 5 of 8 or 9 or how many ever there are. It's been a slow watch for me. So The Witcher, which is up to, don't even judge, Jack, because I'm pretty sure you didn't even play the games or read the books.
Which came first, the games or the books, though? I don't get what's the progression here.
Okay, so I did a little research on this. Thank God somebody did.
But about time.
So, here's the deal. My understanding is that The Witcher started off as a short story. I believe a Polish writer. The short story got 3rd place in a competition, but it received a lot of praise.
Correct.
So he wrote like 2 more short stories, I think, maybe more, that then got combined into a book, and then the books got picked up. And as the books ran and became more popular, there was a movie done in the early 2000s in Polish. A Polish film, or maybe it might have been a show. But anyway, the games came out later. There's 3 games, unless I'm wrong. I've only played one to a certain extent. It wasn't really my kind of game. There's a lot of things I liked about it, but I got too old for games. I didn't have the patience to learn that much, and I just wanted to hack people up with the sword. So
So there are 3 games. They're RPG based. They're rated M for mature. So if you're under 17, don't go get it. They are a lot of fun. They're time consuming. They take a while. So there is a good story to it and a lot to do. I think they've captured a lot of the essence of the characters from the video games. And there is one character, and I can't remember right now, who is actually portraying the voice character that he did in the video game, which I thought was a fun little nod to it. So I'm not gonna lie or pretend any different. The reason why it's taken me so long to watch The Witcher is because I kind of get lost in certain jargon. If I don't understand something, I just zone out. So it takes a while for me to watch. And I like fantasy, fantasy movies, fantasy shows. The books are hard for me to read, so I don't.
Is it trying to get a little bit of that Games of Thrones piece of the pie?
It kind of is, and then there's certain things that are thrown in there that are modern times, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Okay. That's not accurate. So it just kind of throws me off just a little bit. But I do like it. The costumes are great, the action is great, the scenery is kind of cliche. You could tell it's studio, but the outside sceneries is really nice. There's one forest that scene that they go in, and that actually looks really beautiful. I don't know if it's CGI'd. Well, I mean, it would have to be CGI'd because the things are sparkling. Anyway, but it's really, really nice. It's really done. The acting is good, even though sometimes I don't understand what they're saying. I'm like, what just happened? I watched 2-3 episodes with my brother-in-law, and he was just he had to pause it, and I'm like, what happened? I don't get it. He had to explain it to me. I'm not the brightest light bulb in the crayon box, so it happens.
So how many? More episodes?
Wait. I got to go back to the brightest light bulb in the crayon box.
Right. Yeah, we're slaying some metaphor for sure.
Yeah, there's 3 metaphors for that. The sharpest,
the sharpest light bulb in the crayon box.
Okay, we can move on. So you were saying?
All right. Yeah. So was it worth watching? Should I dive in? Because at some point I'm gonna watch it, but it's tough. I almost like the Mandalorian style better. 8 episodes every week for about 6 weeks because they doubled up, the first week, and then about 7 weeks, I guess. That's almost like, hey, this is a reasonable thing to do. 22 episodes is tough. I backload episodes of the TV shows, and it's like I can't really do it. And Netflix has a similar problem, or the Netflix formula, where it's like, damn, there's 13 episodes, and if I start and I get through 3 and then I can't come back for 3 weeks, I have to start over again,
Yeah.
So I have a tough time getting into some of those things because it's like either you go through it all in one sitting, or they feed it to you every week for a short period of time. I don't know. Maybe it's just me getting old and grouchy.
No, so there's about 8 episodes of The Witcher. It really is a good show. Even if you've never played the games, even if you've never played or read the books or anything, it is a good show. It's definitely
right.
Not a hardcore, you've got to see this right now.
I disagree. I think it is a hardcore. You need to go watch it right now.
Okay, so no.
They're selling it that way, though. I mean, they certainly are. It became, I saw the news articles when it came out. They were like, this show has just replaced The Mandalorian as the most popular show on the planet. I was like, well, because there are no more Mandalorian episodes, of course. But
no, while Mandalorian was still on, Witcher came out, and it had people were binging it and watching it more consistently. It had more eyeballs on it, so it was technically a more popular show. But I will say that
that's not fair to say.
Hold on, I got my nerd finger up. You will see all the platforms shifting to the releasing it every week or so. That's been announced by almost all of them. Netflix is going to finish out binging some things, but they're definitely talking about going to that.
Well, they've already done a couple of shows. They tested out a couple of shows on the
because people binge it and then they don't have a reason to come back, so they can like sign up for a month, binge whatever, and then cancel the account.
Well, it's you all these nerds who are doing that with Disney Plus, going, I'm out of here. I'll be back for season 2.
So the other thing I would say is, if you like Game of Thrones, I think you'll probably love The Witcher because it's a condensed version. You don't have to wait 8 seasons for a monster to show up.
No, and there's action from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, there's action from the get-go. But the only reason why it replaced The Mandalorian is because they dropped all 8 episodes at once. Of course, people are going to be like, oh, you know what? I just finished this 1 episode of Mandalorian. Let me go binge watch.
Yeah. You got 6 days to watch The Witcher between episodes of Mandalorian. Yeah.
You
and here, props to it for getting on a quicker pace, because I know people complain about the end of the Game of Thrones, like season 7 and 8 or whatever, but hey, there was at least seasons 2 and 3 and maybe season 4 where there was a shit ton of just walking from point A to point B that could have been condensed. And then when they did condense it, everybody complained because they're like, oh, it's too fast. So something to be said,
Well, that's pretty much it.
All right. Nothing else nerdy going on?
No, because I'm in Florida, so I didn't get to do my comic book pickup for the week.
Now, besides being international assassin, what are you doing in Florida? Is this like a con, a convention? Is it Disney? Are you going to go to Star Wars Land? What are you doing?
So it is because there's a new baby in the family. Oh. So I'm here helping out, trying to get everybody like nice and situated and comfortable, letting mom rest as much as possible because there is another baby. So there's a 1-year-old and then there's a brand spanking new baby. So I'm helping transition things.
That's like 2 babies for the price of 1 almost. A 1-year-old? Holy crap.
Yeah. So I'm helping with the transitional phase of things. That's why I look like a nanny.
It's all working. So you just said you're down there gaming and going to cons and doing all that stuff.
I mean, technically it's almost like a con because the 1-year-old is so like, woo,
That's true. Yeah. It's like one of those weird little.
I have played a game and I've been watching Witcher, so.
There you go. Besides Witcher, I keep hearing things, and I'm going to have to eventually jump on and do it. But season 2 of Lost in Space, everybody is just going nuts over on Netflix. I never watched season 1, but everybody says that this show is one of the best ones that's out there. Have you seen it? Have you seen anything about it?
No. So I've seen the hype that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I've not seen it though. Like I've never seen this Lost in Space. I remember
right.
Lost in Space.
I was intrigued, but now I'm like, oh, this is like really heating up a lot. So The Expanse too, the one that was on the Sci-Fi Network that Amazon saved and has now brought back, I think, for 1 or 2 seasons beyond when it got canceled. People are going nuts for that show, and I did watch season 1 of The Expanse, and it's very good.
Is it?
Yeah. I really enjoyed the first season, but again, it's just like finding the commitment. Now that I was like, well, I'm 3 seasons behind when I started, so I still haven't seen season 3 of Penny Dreadful, so it's
Look, sounds like somebody needs to take a couple of days off and start binge watching stuff.
I know. It's I need a good bout of mononucleosis or something to just throw me up in the bed for like a week or something like that. Stack of comic books and Netflix. Maybe I should fake breaking my leg or something. I should like fake a skiing accident. Yeah.
Well, while you work on that,
right.
We're gonna say goodnight for now.
Good night. Have fun at Mar-a-Lago. Oh, I'm sorry. In Florida, sorry. The price of a tea time. Yeah.
As always, thank you.
It's like we're living in a comic book world. What can I say? All right, go ahead, Kat.
Thank you. I love him so much, and this is why I miss him, because he's like a ball of fun every time. Thanks, Jeff, for tuning in. Jack, go back into your dungeon. I'm so over you.
Put your hoodie back on, Jack. It's okay now.
Yeah.
Put your hoodie back on.
You can hide now. Once again, as always, like, share, subscribe. Go to our website. What is it? The Breakdown. No, issues with the show.
It's all down there.
I'll get it together. The Breakdown _ show is the Twitter that I'm doing and all that stuff. But this isn't a new Wednesday to you guys. You guys have been here for forever. Like, share, subscribe. See you guys next Wednesday, 6 o'clock. Love ya. Bye.